Welcome to the Transformational Soul Show with your host, Ruth Soltman. Are you ready to experience more stability in your life? You can change your life and be who you are meant to be, your authentic self.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Transformational Soul. My name is Ruth Soltman. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm very grateful for you. We are streaming live on Rumble, X, BitChute, and YouTube. So we are streaming live on YouTube, and we're also we have a Goldylocks Productions. I don't know if it's a channel, a group, a page, how it works on TikTok. We're not live streaming there, but Tiffany has been posting a lot of show clips over there from the beginning of our new season on September 1st. So you'll be able to go over there and check those out. All you got to do to find us is type in Goldylocks Productions in the search, and it will come up for you. Oops. So please hit the like or the thumbs up button. Please share the show information. Very grateful for that. And if you're here, please say hello in the chat. I would love to be able to greet you properly. Hello, Maureen and Richard and Robert. Welcome. If you haven't already, I know most of you have. We have a wonderful group on Telegram, Goldylocks Productions. And there's so much amazing energy and information shared over there. And, we can share stuff there that we can't share everywhere on social media. So the link is posted in the show information. And there's also a QR code right there that you can click on, and it will take you to the group. You do have to have a Telegram account, but it's pretty easy to set up. I set mine up for the sole purpose of the group. And that's the only thing I do on there. I don't, look, it's always pretty easy is what I'm saying. And it's only 64 days until Christmas. And you can check that yourself if you want, because it's accurate. And, we'll have our little break around Thanksgiving, and then we'll have our Holy Days break at the end of the year for Christmas and New Year. So if you join the Telegram group, you can stay in touch with all of us over the break. Goldylocks Productions has this wonderful online store. You can go there and get some really great merchandise. And with the holidays coming up, what better gift is there? And also, I used these, I think it was over, I don't know, it was last week or over the weekend. The Goldylocks Productions Oracle cards, Energize. You can get a deck of those for yourself. And they have beautiful sacred geometry symbols and different messages from each of the show hosts. So check those out. And I do not know if there is a spread shop sale going on right now. If there is, Tiffany, just let me know. I know they have them quite often. And thank you so much for joining us this past weekend for the Spiritual Message Circle. The next one is scheduled for Saturday, November 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So mark that on your calendar so you don't miss out. Hi, Pat. Welcome. Now, if you feel so moved to do so, you can give a tip or donation via my Venmo or a Rumble rant on Rumble. We can't currently do tips and donations on YouTube, but that's probably something that we'll have back in the future. Your tips and donations are very greatly appreciated. I want to wish a happy birthday to everyone who is celebrating this week. Enjoy your special day, everyone. Birthdays are very special. And let's send out some love, light, and healing energy to all of those who need it. And I think pretty much right now we could all use some. Um, but let's especially remember Robin McGuire and her son, Caroline Carey's daughter Carrie, and Caroline's sister Jenny, Joyce, Maureen, Brandon, Jamie, Heidi, William, Tommy, Josh, Harley, Patty, Sarah and her family, Jamie, Patricia, Melissa Parks and her family, Devin, Jill, Roy, Laura and her husband, Tiffany, George and their family, Carol, Bob, Diane, Julie and their families, and to all those who are in need or just need a little extra right now. And while you're sending out that love, light, and healing energy, I would greatly appreciate it if you send a little bit my way as well. I'll get into more of that in a little bit. But just a reminder, Sunday through Fridays, we have shows every night of the week at 8 p.m. Eastern. So check those out. We have 2 daytime shows, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're not every week, so you'll have to watch for the posts of the show. But the Tuesday show is Laura Ramiro's Angels and Healing Light, and that's at 11 a.m. Eastern. And Alep's Musical Life is Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. To those of you who have already done this, thank you so much. But if you haven't, we would be very grateful if you would write a little review for one of our shows or all of our shows. Marsha's show, Laura's show, and Alep's show are the 3 newest shows. And we could really, really use some reviews for those shows. And you can just send them to Tiffany's email, which I'll give you in a minute, and she'll put them up on her website. And then what's cool about that is when people are looking at the website, maybe they watch one of our shows, and then they start looking around and they're like, oh, wow, this person says this. I think I might like this show. And then, they find a new show. So Tiffany's email is, and I'm going to spell it out for you because I know everyone's not watching. Some people are listening. GNOSTICHEALING37@gmail.com. And again, thank you if you have sent them. Thank you if you are going to send them in the future. If you want to become a Goldylocks VIP, you can do that. It's so awesome because there's a special show for the VIPs every month, or twice a month usually. But check that out. Just go to GoldylocksProductions.com and you can click on the VIP tab. Find out all about it. Thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany says, sending you lots of healing energies, more than I usually do. Well, let me tell you, I appreciate that. I'm very grateful, and I can really use it. So how have you guys been feeling? Let me tell you, this energy, holy crap. It is massive, huge, huge waves. Have you noticed anything different? I have noticed, besides myself, I've noticed a lot of things in my world that have been kind of wonky and going haywire, especially electronic stuff. Problems with trying to connect to something on my laptop and it says I'm not connected to the internet. When I go and look, yes, I am connected to the internet, but it doesn't connect. Trying to open an app, put in my username and password, check to make sure it's correct. And then I hit, whatever it is, and, to click it on. And it says, this username and password, we don't have this. This is not correct. Do it again, it goes right through. Like the weirdest, strangest things. I've commented about my Google email and storage. Well, I was really excited. I got that down to like 80 some percent. And then the next day it jumped to 93% storage used, even though I hadn't done anything. And then I just noticed today, even though I haven't been deleting anything or anything. Now it's down to like 83%. So just bizarre stuff. And I know there were several internet outages this week. It affected a lot of different sites. So just a lot of crazy stuff. Now, physically, what have you been noticing? Because let me tell you, I have noticed a lot. Maureen says, prayers, healing, love, and light sent to all. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Monday, around noonish, somewhere around 12, 1 o'clock, I started feeling very weird. I felt kind of dizzy, but it was just very strange. When I closed my eyes, I didn't still feel dizzy. But I got very overheated very quickly, just not feeling well at all, feeling like I might hit the floor. So, I laid down for a little bit and just relaxed, took a whole bunch of deep breaths, and then I started to feel better. So I went on about my day. Yesterday, it was while I was watching Robin's show, and it was so intense. And I've been trying to think of like a way to describe this, the way that I was feeling. And you know how when you get really, really sick and you have a high fever, and you know how your body feels when that fever is just pulsating through your body? And it's like when you take a step, it's like everything vibrates. That's how my whole body felt. Only I didn't have a fever. But it was like I could feel it like maybe 8 inches out from my body all the way around. Very strange. But last night, it lasted for it had to have been an hour or two. It was quite a long time. Got really warm again. So I started thinking, what the heck is going on? And I know the Schumann resonance was super high. I think it was last week or over the weekend. It was almost 300. And then it dropped down. And now it's like super low. So I went looking for some information. I mean, there's so much stuff going on out there, with the planets and the stars and all that stuff. And we have all these solar flares and solar storms, and all this energy is coming down to Earth. So, of course, it's going to affect us. So I started, really thinking back to the last few days and how exactly I have been feeling. And it's almost like it started from the bottom of my body and it's just moving on up, because I had very intense pain. I don't know what the other word would be. Kind of like tiredness in my legs, especially my calves. And then, I from time to time have issues with my knees from an injury back when I was like 17. So occasionally, they start hurting really bad. And they did. And it was so bad that it was really difficult going up and down the stairs because there was so much pain. And then a couple days later, I noticed it's like in my stomach. Anything I try to eat, I'm just nauseous. Anything, even like drinking stuff, would make me nauseous. Nothing would taste right. Nothing would taste good. And then I just started noticing different things, and it's kind of like moving up my body. So I don't know if this is energy that's coming in and kind of working with my chakras. I'm not sure. But I can tell you one thing I did notice after last night is my knee pain has improved 80 or 90%. So that's what makes me think it's just something kind of working its way through my body. And if you remember, a couple of months ago, I started with the congestion, and I just felt like all this stuff was just purging, through my nose and through my throat, and getting rid of all this stuff. And my nose has been pretty clear now for the last week or two. I still have congestion in my chest, but it's slowly going away. Now, when I had all this stuff, I didn't have a headache, and I didn't really have pressure in my head. It was mostly, it was just a very weird feeling, but it felt like it was my whole body. And my ears, now I normally have like tones in my ears. Just, I have like, ever since I can remember, they've always been there. But they got super, super loud, and they changed. It changed from kind of like it'll be like a tone, and then it was like a buzzing, and it was like a whirring sound. It was very strange. But I feel like maybe there's a whole lot of energetic stuff going on. Now, I know that if I'm experiencing this, you guys are probably experiencing some stuff too, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I had nausea. What else? But now today, I had it a little bit this morning earlier. Not real dizzy, not, where I didn't have to go lay down or anything. And it didn't last very long. And I feel better right now than I have felt, all week. So I'm thinking that's, a really good thing that maybe this energy is just kind of acclimating to me. I remember talking about this like last year or the year before about all this energy and how it's going to come in waves, and we got to get our bodies ready. But this energy is so powerful that I think we underestimated it, because it's been knocking so many of us on our butts, literally. It is just absolutely very, very, very intense. Hi, Jill. Hi, Roy. Welcome. Tiffany says, I have been feeling all that too. See, I knew I wasn't the only one. Jill says, Roy has not been feeling well either. I am sitting next to him while we are listening to you. It's his sinuses. He's probably purging and draining a lot of stuff out. Now, we've talked about the energy stuff for quite a while, and we've known how powerful it was going to be this year, or we anticipated. And like I said, I think we underestimated it. But it's coming in. It's coming in. So we have to do the best we can. Because, it's such a high vibration, such a high frequency, that when it hits our human body, it's like a big shock. So it takes a while for that energy to get acclimated to us, right? So we just have to do the best that we can. But I will say that all this time and all the energy waves that we've had before and all the stuff that's been coming in, this was the strongest that I ever felt. Absolutely, without a doubt. Oh, and another thing that I thought was a little weird today. I was working on one of my projects, and somehow, accidentally, the little cursor was at the trash can and something got deleted. So, I look it up. How can I retrieve this? Because I had just finished it. And, it says you'll just go to the trash, and you'll be able to restore it. So I go to the trash. It's not there. It was nowhere to be found. Normally when that happens, that's where it goes. It goes into the trash, and then you can retrieve it. But no, that didn't happen, or restore it. But that did not happen, so it was gone. So I had to recreate it again. And so I've been working on that today. So a lot of different information has been coming up. A lot of different, thoughts and ideas. And I was thinking about, what does it mean for us to be fully present? Fully present. It's being in the moment. It's giving your attention to who you're with and what you are doing. What happens when we're not fully present? We miss a lot. We miss a lot of stuff. Instead of being focused on, who you're with or what you're doing, your thoughts are scattered elsewhere. You miss out on the joy of what is happening in the moment. And it's important. Now, maybe you went to an event, maybe a sports thing or a kid's program at school. And so you want to take pictures or record it. What I have found personally, this has happened to me, and I know it's happened to other people. I become so focused on, how is the lighting? Is it too dark? Can I see? Is it taping or recording correctly? Can I get a close up? The angle of the camera to to what you're trying to take a picture of. You're so focused on those things that you miss out on the event. Now, you can watch it afterwards, yes. It's not the same as watching it when it is happening. It's still good, but it's not the same. It's just different. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, if that's what you choose to do. But be mindful of it. You don't want to miss out on those good things, I have seen people who were recording part of something, while it was happening. And then something else happened over here and they totally missed it because they were too focused on what they were seeing through their camera. Now, remember when you were a kid in school. Now, I can remember this vividly because I've done this. The teacher's up there in the front of the class trying to teach, maybe explaining some, like how to diagram sentences. Did you guys do that in school? I still remember that. I thought that was so much fun. And math problems. But you're not even listening to the teacher. You're sitting there daydreaming about after school activities or, the boy that's sitting in the fourth row. So what happens when you get home? Then you start to do your homework, and guess what? You don't know how to do it because you weren't listening. You don't know what the instructions were because you were not fully present in that classroom. Oh my goodness, I missed a bunch of messages here. Okay. And I know we've probably all done that. And I remember, being in school and the teacher up there trying to teach, and some of the kids were just so obnoxious, just sitting there being rude and not letting the teacher even talk. Hi, Robin. Let's see who else I missed here. Got Robin, Carol Ann. Hi, Carol Ann. Okay, I think that was it. Over there. And, there's so many, different ways that we can experience this. How many times have you had a face-to-face conversation, like a full conversation with someone, and the whole time they're kind of looking at you with this blank stare and just kind of nodding, and darn well they zoned out as soon as you started talking, that their mind is completely somewhere else, and that they didn't hear a word you said. And how does that make you feel? It makes you feel pretty crappy. It makes you feel like unvalued. What about eating in front of the TV? I mean, it doesn't have to be dinner. It could be a snack or something. Your focus is probably on the show that you're watching or the movie, and you're not paying attention to what you're eating. And that causes a lot of people to tend to overeat because they're just so focused on the show and they're just eating without thinking about it or being mindful of it. Now, some people could be doing it right now. While you're watching this show. We do it without even realizing it because we're so, I don't know if it's programmed or what it is, but we're so used to doing it that we don't really even think about it. This is why we need to think about it. We need to be mindful. We need to pay attention, and we need to notice things and people and what we are doing. Now, not being fully present is not the same thing as multitasking, okay? When you're multitasking, you might be working on a few different things kind of at the same time, but you go back and forth in between them. So when you're working on one specific one, it is getting your focus and attention. And I do that a lot. And the reason I do, I'm not sure the reason I do, but one thing I've noticed when I do is, let's say I'm on Canva and I'm working on a book cover and I'm working on a new deck of cards. And I'll be looking, for specific pictures, or I'll be scrolling through that stuff and I'll find like the perfect thing I want to use. And let me tell you, sometimes you can be on there for hours scrolling for pictures or, backgrounds or whatever, even when you search for what you want. And so then I have to go back to the other one because it's the picture that I wanted for that. And so I'll just go back and forth. And the way I like to do things is, I get my initial idea and start on it, and then I'll leave it for like a week or so. Then I'll go back and see, do I really like that or not really? And then if I do, then I just keep adding to it. And if not, then I'll make changes. But when you multitask, you do focus on one thing at a time in a way. And if you are a multitasker, you know what I mean. And from what I read, a lot of people aren't multitaskers. I did not know that. Now, messages. Hello, Anel. Nice to see you. Now, the holidays are coming soon. Think about being at a family event with people that you haven't seen in a while. And, how would it make you feel if you were sitting there trying to make conversation with someone and they're just sitting there scrolling on their phone, just ignoring people? It doesn't make you feel too good. Now, we can change that type of behavior in ourselves, and it's not difficult to do. We need to be fully present, not just for the people around us, but for ourselves. We don't want to miss out. Our time here on earth is limited. We all know that. We want to create as many wonderful memories as we can with the people that we love. We create these memories for ourselves. We create them for the other people. You don't want someone's memory of you to be something like, oh, he was always on his phone, or she was more interested in watching TV than talking to me. People are more important than that. People should be more important than that. People should be more important than anything else that you have going on, especially the people that we love. So it's not difficult to change that behavior. We just have to pay attention and be mindful of it. Be fully present. We have to make it a priority. It shows the person that you are with that they matter to you, that they are important, that you value them. No one likes to feel ignored or invisible. And in children, your presence helps build self-esteem. So you want to always be present for children. Now, sometimes our minds will wander. That's normal. But it's our job to bring it back to focus on what we should be focusing on. And it just made me think of something I was going to tell you. Whatever you tell yourself, you're going to believe. I just watched this video earlier about how our mind is a magnet. And if we think negative thoughts, that's what's going to, come to us. And we know this because we talk about this all the time. But if you think positive thoughts, that's what's going to come to us. And our mind is so powerful, we could talk ourselves into or out of anything at all. We would find a way. Well, I'm glad I made you giggle, Linnell. Forgot what I was saying. About the magnet. We can talk ourselves into anything. We can talk ourselves out of anything. And we all have done that. Sometimes there might be something that you really, really want to do. And other people are saying, no, that's not really a good idea. And so that's thoughts in the back of your head. So you will try to come up with ways to rationalize making the decision go in the favor, that you want it to. And we can rationalize that. Um, we can rationalize that back and forth either way. Now, I know I have done this many times before. You know, try to rationalize something that I really wanted to do because there really was no good reason for me to do it. So I would have to try to rationalize it. Linnell says, your room looks nice. The full screen is nice. Well, thank you. She's watching on the big screen. And, sometimes we do that, but our mind is so powerful. If you tell your mind that you're sick, guess what's going to happen? Your mind is going to make that happen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tiffany says, woohoo. Look, we made it to TV. There you go. Hello, Samir. So our minds are really powerful, and we can do anything that we set our mind to, right? Anything. So the things that are important to you, make them a priority in your life. Absolutely. Without a doubt. The people, the things, spending, I know we all like to spend time with the people that we love and care about. That's what keeps us going. Sometimes that's what energizes us. It brings us joy, brings us, fun times. So make sure that that time that you're spending with your loved ones is good quality time. It doesn't matter how much time you spend with someone. The time, the quantity is not what's important. It's the quality of that time. That's what they remember. They don't remember, oh, I spent 2 hours with this person, last week. No, they'll remember, oh, we went to this movie, or we had a great dinner together, or we had coffee in this wonderful conversation. That's what they remember. They don't remember, oh, you have to watch the clock. No, because they're in the moment. So we always have to be fully present. And one thing that can bring us to that fully present state is gratitude, of course, because gratitude brings us into the moment. It's really great. Not a lot of people can do this, but it's really great if you can live in the moment. If you watch children, as they're playing or as they're doing an activity or something, they have no concept of time. They'll start working on something and they're focusing on that until they get it done. Unless they get hungry, want a snack or something, or have to go to the restroom. But normally they will just sit there and focus on it if it's something they're enjoying doing. They don't care if it takes them 5 minutes or 5 hours. And they don't look at the clock and say, oh, wow, I've been doing this for 30 minutes already. They don't care because they are in the moment. It's one thing that I think is so amazing about kids, especially like before they can tell time. Hi, Leanne. Especially before they can tell time, because they have no concept of it. You can tell them, we're gonna go to bed in 20 minutes. How long is 20 minutes? They don't know. So they're always living in the moment, and I think that's so beautiful. And then they get older, and they buy a clock, and then they start going by all of that stuff that drives all of us crazy. But it's pretty awesome to just be in the moment as much as you can. Meditation can help with that too. Oh, thank you, Leanne. Leanne says she loves the room as well. Thank you. Okay. I would love to um, give some messages. See what we got. Okay, now I've been jotting down names as people, I've been seeing people come on. So let me read off the names that I have. And if I haven't said your name, um, then let me know and I'll add you. But these are in no specific order, okay? Robin, Maureen, Carol Ann, Richard, Samir, Pat, Leanne, Robert, Linnell, Jill, Roy. Did I miss anybody? Okay. I haven't seen anybody say anything. So let's see. We are going to start with Linnell. Okay, Linnell. Your card says, speak up and speak out. Let your voice be heard loud and clear. And, I don't see you as the shy wallflower at all. I don't feel like you would have much of an issue with speaking up and speaking your truth and speaking out. Now, I will say that some of the most outgoing people that I know can have maybe a certain issue, a certain situation, or a certain person in their life where they're not comfortable with speaking out or, um, maybe saying how they feel. So if that is you, um, work through that so that you can say the things that you need to say. Let your voice be heard loud and clear. Loud and clear. So if that is the situation for you, then just know that it's safe for you. um, and you can let loose and let it out. Okay. Leanne, you're pretty funny. You go, girl. She's got you pegged. Yes, my dog has been very quiet lately. We have had a few discussions about it, and she's actually been listening. And now she's starting to, talk a little bit. I don't know what she wants. Linnell says, beautiful card. I'm working on letting out again from deep inside. There you go. Let it out. Linnell. Where did I put your name? Oh, there you are. Okay. Richard. Richard. Oh, that one flipped right over for you, Richard. Wow. I think you've had this card before. And I like how so far the cards are all about letting it out, releasing it. Richard. Let your feelings out. All of them, even the ones that scare you. Even the ones that scare you. Now, sometimes we can get scared by our own anger, or we can get scared if we have romantic feelings for someone because we're worried they're not going to feel the same way. Or it could be a lot of different situations where your feelings might scare you or make you kind of take a step back. But it's okay. It's okay. Because once you do, you that's going beyond your comfort zone. So when you do that, magical things happen when we step outside of our comfort zone, no matter what we're stepping outside of our comfort zone to do. So just remember that, Richard. And don't be afraid to let your feelings show. Maureen. Maureen, a little bit of faith goes a long way. Remember that. They're wanting you to have faith in yourself, in your decisions. Don't second guess your decisions. You know that the decisions that you're making in your life right now are coming from a place of love. So when they come from a place of love, of course they're going to be the right decision. And I feel like you are following your intuition, and you're letting it help to guide you. Help to guide you. You're stepping into this new chapter in life, and it's so exciting. Whenever we step into a new chapter, it's always exciting. Yeah, it can be a little bit like, ooh, because we don't know exactly what to expect. But, that's part of the fun, the finding out, the figuring things out, the new adventures. So have faith in the decisions that you're making. And I feel like there's going to be a few more for you, like big ones. So just have faith in yourself, have faith in your intuition, know that you will make the right decisions, and, just stick with that, stick by that. Very exciting times, Maureen. You're welcome, Richard. Okay, Leanne. Leanne, your life is so special. Treat it with loving care. Never take yourself or anything in your life for granted, because anything can be gone in a second, right? Anything. So be grateful for everything that you have, everyone that you have that's in your life, and treat it like it's special and like you're grateful. I can remember when I was younger, and I used to, like when I was a teenager, and I could never, you'd see some of these snobby girls that thought they were just it, right? They were like, um, the popular one, and they were the pretty one, the whatever. And they would be so stuck up and snobby. And do you know their looks could be taken away from them in a split second? You don't know what's going to happen. It's what's on the inside, of course, that matters. But nobody would expect like that girl, to get in a car accident and have her face all mangled, right? But stuff like that happens. So be grateful for what you have, and treat everything in your life as it is so special, because it is, because you are special. So I hope you appreciate that. Okay, Samir. Never forget how resilient you are. You always bounce back. I feel like you had this card too before, Samir. But know that whatever happens in your life, you're going to bounce back from it. Now think about this. Every situation you've had that was a challenge, or things that may have happened that you thought, I'm never going to get past this, I'm never going to overcome this. You have, and you're still here. So obviously you're very resilient, and you always bounce back. Um, so remember that. Don't let things stress you out. They're only temporary. Temporary bumps in the road that you don't even need to really concern yourself with, because they will work themselves out. Leanne says, getting there. Thanks, Ruth. You're welcome. Manal says she is very special. Very. Not told enough for sure. Well, those are some affirmations there for you, Leanne. Tell yourself that on a daily basis. I am special. Because you know what? You do that enough times, um, like 3 times a day for a good 21 days, you're going to believe it. And if you could say it out loud, even better, because then you could hear it as well. But you can do it, in your head if you want to. But there seems to be some kind of power in hearing it. I don't know if it's the vibration of the voice or the energy the words carry when you say them. I don't know. But it feels so much more powerful when you do verbalize it. That's right. Love you first. Okay, Pat. Pat. Live your life with both feet in. Commit fully to being here. Commit fully. See, that's like, fully being present. So whatever situation you're encountering, or if it's a decision you need to make, don't just kind of like flip-flop back and forth or be willy-nilly about it. Make the decision and just go all in. Go all in. Don't second guess yourself. Because, we can drive ourselves crazy second guessing, right? Because I know people that not like second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and still can't make up their mind. So don't second guess yourself. Make your decisions from a place of love and listen to your intuition. But make sure that, you're not have one foot here and one foot there. You got to be all in. I hope that resonates with you, Pat. Maureen says, thank you so much. I was thinking the other day to myself, if I'm doing the right thing, or am I having a late midlife crisis? You're not having a late midlife crisis. You are doing the right thing. And I think you know that, but I think what happens, when we get to that place where we've got all these new big decisions that we've made, and then we're like, oh crap, I don't know. And then we start second guessing ourselves just because I think, sometimes it's because we don't want to be wrong. I think it's sometimes because we're just kind of hesitant. I don't want to say scared, but hesitant about moving forward. We're hesitant about things changing because you do have huge changes in your life. Huge. And change, unknown places, it can be daunting. So I'm glad that was your validation that you're doing the right thing. That's awesome. Roy. Trust yourself always, Roy. Trust others once they've earned it. Sometimes we can trust the wrong person, but there was a situation where someone asked someone I know for gas money, right? We had a family from out of town, and we were in a hotel. And some guy came up to a family member and said, hey man, I'm out of gas. Could you, help me out with $20? And he left, and he gave him the $20, and he left. And the intention of the person giving the $20 was that this poor guy needs gas. Now, if that man had lied to him and didn't need gas, maybe he was going to buy a bottle. We don't know. But the intention in the spirit of his giving was appropriate and correct. What the man decided to do with the money, that's on him. That's up to him. It really, in the whole, the whole scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. But the family member trusted that they were telling the truth and that that's what they needed. Sometimes it could be hard to trust strangers, people that we don't know. Sometimes it can be hard to trust people we know because we do know them and we know what they're like. But learning to trust, if you don't trust, it can be very difficult. I know the card says to trust others once they've earned it. However, if it, I kind of always my kind of, I don't know, philosophy or whatever is, I'll trust you. But if I find out, you lied to me or whatever, it's going to be a long time till I trust you again, because I'm a very trusting person. Um, and there's people out there that don't trust anyone for any reason, even people that they, love and care about. They just think everyone's dishonest. But I think a lot of that comes from, our perspective of how we are. If we're, generally an honest person, we think other people are too. I know when I was, younger and growing up, I was very surprised to see that everybody's life wasn't just like mine, when I was a child. I didn't know that everyone didn't have two loving parents. I didn't know that everyone didn't go to church on Sunday. I just thought everyone's life was exactly like mine. But that's not how it is. Um, so if you have trust issues, Roy, work on those. I'm not saying that you do, but if you do, um, and always trust yourself, always. Pat says, great card, Ruth. Thank you. You're welcome. Robert. Robert. Do your thoughts need a reboot? Focus on the good in your life, Robert. Focus on the good. Yeah, sometimes we just need to do like what we do with our computers. Clean out all the little fragments, clean out all the crap, and reboot. And then everything feels better, everything looks better, everything works better. Um, and you can do that by focusing on the good. When you focus on the good, you're going to see more good. You're going to receive more good, because that's the energy that you are putting out. That is the vibration that you are in. If you're putting out that all the bad stuff, that's the vibration you're going to be in, and it's a much lower vibration. You don't want to be there. You want to be in that higher vibration, and you want to be bringing all of that good stuff to you. Oh, I did that. Okay, I didn't cross you off. Okay, Carol Ann. Stop giving away your power right now, Carol Ann. Don't do it. Don't. We can give away our power in so many ways without even realizing that we're doing it. This doesn't mean that you're doing it in a way that someone can completely control you. But just take back any power that you have given away. If that makes sense to you, Carol Ann. Jill. Jill, take responsibility for your choices. This is your life to live. Own it. Own it. Take responsibility for the decisions and the choices that you made. Sometimes, not saying you, but sometimes people will make a decision about something and then it doesn't work out the way they wanted it to. And then they have to have someone to blame because they can't accept responsibility that, oh, I made that decision and it was wrong. But we've all made decisions that, we might have wanted to take a different way. But it's because we don't know. We're all still learning. We're all learning here. But it's important to be able to say, yes, I did that. Whether it's a choice that you feel is a positive one or a negative one, it doesn't matter. Every decision that we make will have some set of consequences, and consequences is not a bad word. All it means is kind of like cause and effect. This decision I made caused this to happen. Now, if I would have made it in this other direction, then this would have happened. It's the same type of thing. So they're just wanting you to be aware of that and to always, own up to things and take responsibility for your choices. Robin. Robin, you have such a bright light inside. Stop dimming it. Stop dimming it. I know it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And it's like you're like the turtle coming out of its shell, right? Things just, get brighter with you, get lighter with you. It's almost like you can see your vibration raising, right? But make sure you shine that light as, every second that you possibly can, because there's so many people that need it, so many people that see it. Don't be careful how you speak to yourself. You have to speak in positive words, positive self-talk only, because your body hears everything that you say, everything. So you always want to keep it positive. Tiffany. Let's see what we have for Tiffany. Tiffany, bet on yourself. Take chances. Reach your dreams. You've got this. You've got this. Reach your dreams. Yes, I believe you will. Every single one of them. But I love that. Bet on yourself. Take chances. And I know you do. And I know that you've got probably a few things, what's that word I'm looking for? Incubating right now that you've probably kept to yourself. And sooner or later, it's going to be born. You're going to give birth to it. Some new stuff. Now, is this part of, your dreams coming true? I don't know. It may be. Oh, thank you, guys. Great words for all this evening. Love it. Thank you, Linnell. Thank you, Richard. Richard says amazing show. And Tiffany says, good message and love that card. So beautiful. Yes, thanks. Working on things, creating inside, wink, wink. I have a feeling that Tiffany will be creating stuff like for all of her days. It'll be something new and different. And it's always exciting, though. It's so exciting to see all this new stuff with people. And don't forget, Christmas, 64 days. So start planning. And it's going to be here so fast. And, Thanksgiving is late in November. So I think it's only 4 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that'll make it go by super, super fast. I want to thank everyone for being here. I am grateful for each and every one of you. Everybody have a wonderful week. I love you all. Good night, everybody.